Hi everyone, Stacy here. This is my Unconference Integration rationale. I found the Elementary EdCamp article the most relevant. I can see this being exciting for young students to control their own learning. I also like the Personalized Teacher Learning article. My current teaching situation doesn't lend itself to the Unconference instructional model. My students can't read yet, so it would be very difficult for them to set up a schedule and teach their peers. However, this style of professional development is very relevant for me. It's so rare that teachers get to interact with each other in their own, and especially with people in their own specialty. Unconference is a perfect way for like-minded teachers to meet and share their knowledge and experiences. The purpose of the Unconference instructional model is to engage learners in topics that are relevant to their learning situation. It gives the learner ownership, and therefore the learning becomes completely student-centered. The law of 2 feet also allows teachers and students to move from session to session until they find a session that is meaningful for them. Unconference also saves money. There's no need to hire an expensive guest speaker, no costly handouts, no swag, just the knowledge of the attendees. The points of view I considered were mostly from the elementary perspective. Although the other articles were very interesting, it's hard to picture my 4 and 5-year-olds creating meaningful instruction and sharing it with their peers. I did also consider the points of view from the professional development articles. I would really like to set up a parenting ed camp in my district. I think it would be a great way to get parents involved, and they could share topics like getting homework complete or appropriate bedtimes and strategies for limiting screen time. When I read the heading for this week's post, I have to admit I had no idea what an unconference was. I'd heard of EdCamp, and I've even participated in a few, but I've never heard of it called an unconference. I never even considered EdCamp as something that could be applied to the classroom or at the elementary level. The articles about the 4th grade class really changed that assumption. I also assumed that unconference would be too disorganized to implement in the classroom. I assumed it was purely for professional development. Unconferences are meant to address the problem of irrelevant topics for teacher workshops. They're meant to provide teachers and students with learning opportunities that are meaningful and applicable to their current situation. Unconferences also provide schools with some fiscal relief. Teachers are required to attend 80 to 100 hours of district-provided professional development, using the knowledge of staff to help other staff help save money in the long run. I think this model can really work in the upper elementary grades through to adult learners. It's a low-cost, easy-to-manage mode of professional development if properly implemented. Attendance at an ed camp or unconference also lends itself to future planning. The smackdown session at the end always has people thinking about the sessions that they wish they could have presented. The theory applied in the unconference model is peer-to-peer learning, which centers on the student's discovery, study, and use of information in a collaborative manner, rather than an instructor simply lecturing and the students passively listening. The implications and consequences of unconference-style teaching would be trying to turn it into something that it isn't. Unconferences are supposed to be an organic thing that takes on a life of its own. Teachers may try too hard to control the instruction, which will result in an unsuccessful EdCamp. The other problem is that EdCamp can only be as good as the people attending. If a particular group of students or teachers are not willing to share, it could be a disaster. Thanks for listening.